Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lim Nam Aik, and I create and build robots. As you can see, it is not an ordinary robot. If you agree with me, please give a clap. Thank you very much. This is the title of my talk this afternoon. It is some sort like a puzzle. I'm sure it's a no-brainer that you can figure out what it means. Okay, there's a little guy with a magnifying glass and he's looking at the E, and below that you have got robotics. So the question is, what is the E in robotics? So as I said, since you agree with me, that is no ordinary robot, it is actually extraordinary. So this is the topic that I'm going to talk about, and it's in line with the theme of being extraordinary for this whole event, talking about the theme extraordinary. Okay, now when we talk about robotics, it is not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah, and we know that different people would view robotics differently, especially if you are not a science-based person. You will want to shy away from robotics. But today I'm going to talk about robotics that is actually suitable for everyone, irrespective whether you are art inclined or science inclined. Okay? So basically what I'm trying to do is that I want to make it something that everybody can indulge in. And the E also means, to me, is eco-artistic robotics. Why? What do I mean by eco-artistic robots? Eco-artistic robots is unique and amazing, basically because I make use of recyclable, everyday plastic objects to build the robots. At first glance, you may not realize that actually it consists of mineral water bottles, dustpan, enginoid container, and basins and things like this. Things that normally you would discard them, you will not even give a second thought to things like this, okay? Now, before I continue to do my presentation proper, I would like to ask, or I would like to find out, how many of you here actually like robots? Okay, how many of you really do not like robots? If you do not like robots, please raise your hands this way. Well, I'm sure you dare not, isn't it? Because for fear that people will think that you may not be in the right audience. But doesn't matter. What's important is that it is even better if you do not like robots. Because the whole aim here is, I want to be able to convince you that you can actually get involved in building robots. Exciting robots, okay? Now, I know robotics in general is a tough subject. And it can also be a boring subject to many of us. But to me, it spells excitement. The E spells excitement to me. It spells also enjoyment to me. And it also spells energizer to me. Because when I build robots, I feel very stimulated. My brain gets to be very active. And I think at my age, I need to be stimulated so that I can keep my brain active. And I think it's important that all of us too should be able to get involved in activities that can help you to stimulate your brain. That's very important. Okay, let me now tell you the story, how I begin building robots like this. Now this is the robot character called number 5 in a movie called Short Circuit back in 1986. It is my influencer, okay? And it is also the thing that ignites my interest and passion in robotics. And it has stayed on in my mind right until now. And I've never forgotten this. And even this has led me to appreciate a lot of other robot movies. Now, how many of you are fans of robot movies like Transformers, Iron Man, and things like this? How many of you? You see, it's good. In fact, all of us like robots. Now, just now I mentioned, how many of you like robots? I didn't say robotics. Because robotics is slightly different meaning. Robotics means the study of or the process of learning, whereas robots is only liking the model itself, okay? There's a difference. But here, I'm trying to encourage you to even learn robotics, okay? Now, this is the first robot that I ever created. This was back in 1999, when I was actually still doing events and management, and also promotion and in the entertainment field. And a client of mine came to me in 1999, when everybody is talking about going into the new millennium, yeah, the year 2000, the future. So he came to me and asked me for an idea. What is best to help him to promote his product, because he's participating in a trade exhibition. So I was actually cracking my head as to what should I do, yeah? And I remembered robots, okay? And I said, okay, why don't I create a robot character for him to help him to draw crowd and generate publicity for him. And this is what I've done. Ever since then, I provided this rental service or hiring service to clients of mine, especially corporate clients. When they have events and promotions, they need attractions. In fact, every corporation, when they want to promote their brand or their company, they need to have some form of attraction to draw crowd and to generate publicity. So since then, I've been doing lots of events, hiring all these robots out for the clients. And after that, I create another range. I expanded my range of robots. These are some of the static robots, okay? And I thought that there's also a need for it, yeah? Besides the first robot that I built, which is actually a robot character. It is not so much of a real robot. Even that time, we are talking about what do you call it? Cosplay. Cosplay was not even popular at that time, and I already presented the robot character to my clients, okay? And these are the other range of robots that I have built over the years. And what I've done is, from a hobby of mine, I've now turned it into a full-time business where I sell and I also rent out, and at the same time now, I run workshops for anybody who's interested in learning this skill, okay? Now, there's another latest creation of mine, which you can see here. It is a giant robot. It is about 9.5 feet tall. It can walk, it can talk, it can interact with people. Now, I built this robot in just only 2 months alone. Normally, when you talk about building a fully functional robot like Asimo, I'm not sure whether any of you have seen Asimo before, the most advanced robot in the world, which is actually developed by Honda. And it took them 22 years and a team of experts like electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, electronic engineers, programmers, in order to be able to build Asimo. But here, I work alone, okay? And I'm able to build a robot like this. So can you imagine? This is a totally different concept altogether from the kind of robotics that we are used to, the technical robotics. And that is why it has not been able to change people's mindset from getting excited about robotics. Now, this actually has drawn a lot of interest and drawn a lot of crowd for this event in particular. When it first appeared, at least 5,000 people witnessed it. How is that possible? Because the few people who were present at this shopping mall, they start calling their family members, their friends, and they said, you know, this is the first time ever they ever saw a huge robot walking around and interacting with people. And that's how, when all these people there call each other, the crowd suddenly become bigger and bigger. And this is what companies are looking for, some kind of attractions to draw crowd. Okay, this is what I indulge in. I call it eco-artistic robotics. Now, what then is eco-artistic robotics? It is actually a simplified method of learning and building robots without the necessity of having any technical knowledge. You put the technical knowledge aside and focus on the form, design, and development. And at the same time, it encourages the use of recyclable materials to build them. So imagine now, when you put aside this technical knowledge, any art students can actually get involved in building robots. That this is how I make it easy. Because all you need to do is focus on the form, okay? That's all. Because if you are talking about technicalities, you wouldn't want to go any deeper than that if you are an art student. But if you are an enthusiast in robotics, you will want to know more, okay? Now, how extraordinary can this be? Now, it allows you expansion. If today you don't like it, you want to change the parts, you can easily do so. If you want to build it bigger, higher, you can do so. Now, let me show you the extraordinary part about this robot. I can transform this from a lady to a guy. Okay? And you can add features like this. You can add all of features, and this will help my clients to actually get visibility. Yeah. So here it says that extraordinary, of which it is. And I also have a video here, a video player, which can help my client to play the corporate video. I can add in sound. I can add in a CCTV. Anything is possible. Okay, so this is, to me, is a fun, it's an exciting, it's a stimulating, it's a fulfilling, and it's a rewarding activity that I indulge in. And I think all of you can do so. Yeah? So this is my tagline, easy for everyone to enjoy. Now you will understand as I go along, what do I mean by easy? Now this is, in order to understand eco-artistic robotics, we must first of all look at the normal, the general kind of robotics that we are familiar with, okay? Now this is the normal way that we present robotics to the general public. Now if you look at this, you can't even identify what that thing is. If it doesn't move, it's just an unidentifiable skeletal contraption. To me, that's what I call it, USC, okay? Now it has got no commercial appeal. Whereas compared to this, immediately it attracts your attention. Yeah, you will want to buy it, you want to hire it, yeah, for your events. And of course, this is how educators advocate the study, the learning of robotics. We always start off, especially start off, they start off with Lego Mindstorm or assembly kit robotics. So this is what we generally present robotics to the general public. And the general perception towards robotics is that it is exclusive, expensive, and excessive. Exclusive because it only caters to special interest groups. If you are an enthusiast, then only you would like to get involved in robotics. Expensive, as I said, boxes like this can cost from 1,000 and above. Yeah? And excessive because it takes a long time to learn. Yeah? For example, to build this, like Asimo, took about 22 years to build. And excessive in the sense of heavy investment. They invested millions of dollars in order to build Asimo until this advanced stage. Now, what is extraordinary about eco-artistic robotics? Besides, of course, the size. The size is the first thing that attracts you, okay? The other thing is because of the unlimited possibilities that you can create in terms of the design, in terms of the shape, in terms of add-ons later on. So it has got appealing power. Yeah, first off, we are talking about visual impression. It gives you that impact. Straight away, you're attracted to it. Even when we carried this robot up here, a lot of eyes were on it, okay? And then second thing is outstanding size. You can't escape it. Normally when you talk about indulging in robotics, especially the Lego Mindstorm, it's always very small. And even in competition, you fight among each other, it's always very small, on the floor, yeah? And then you have easily relatable, because the general public can relate to it easily, and that's what will appeal to them. If you keep on presenting to them robotics that doesn't impress them, that doesn't appeal to them, they will not be convinced, they will not be persuaded to take up robotics. And this will stir up their interest. Because of the appeal, it will stir up the interest. And of course, unlimited possibilities. Then the approach is extraordinary as well. It's innovative and radical at the same time. Now, normally when you talk about the common approach is that of science and technology. That's how we present robotics to the general public. But in terms of eco-artistic robotics, it's a totally different concept. We look at robotics from different perspectives, from art and environment. Now this makes it very simplistic and humanistic, because it gets us involved in addressing environmental sustainability at the same time while we learn a skill to build robots. Now there's a formula, an interesting formula, to excite people to want to get involved in robotics, the 3 Ws. Now normally the first thing that comes into our mind is that World Wide Web, okay? But here it means the first W is how to turn waste into works of art to generate wealth. Now that, I'm sure, will be an inspiration for even people who say, oh, I'm not interested in robotics. Now how is this going to be helpful to us? When you use recyclable materials, it becomes affordable. You no longer need to spend and be extravagant in learning robotics. Because each time you want to learn something new, you have to buy another box, okay? Whereas in terms of eco-artistic robotics, you only make use of recyclable everyday objects, okay? And these are resource material that you can easily get them, yeah? And in what way? They're free of charge. They're easily available, and they're abundantly available. You can find them in your house, you can find them in your neighbor's house, you can find them in the office, you can find them in the factory, you can find them in the restaurant. All these normally people discard them, reject them. So what better way or smarter way to indulge in robotics by making use of recyclable materials? And do you know that the recycling industry in Malaysia is worth 600 million ringgit per year? In fact, right now it has risen to about almost 700 million ringgit. Now what are we doing about it? The most we are doing most of the time is scenes like this. You know, I used to drive around to various housing estates, and I see centers like this. You have volunteers gathered together where residents send in their materials, things that they want to discard. For this community are helping charity, okay? They involve about at least 20 old people. So I had a chance to talk to them. I asked them, within a weekend, how much are you able to raise funds for charity? Then one of them, the leader, told me, he says, if it's not too many things that we're able to gather, maybe about 100 ringgit, okay? If it's a good weekend, about 500 ringgit. Now, why is that so low? Now, what if all the volunteers here learn the skill of building a robot from, I don't call it robot alone, but maybe a work of art. It can be a robot, it can be anything else, okay? It doesn't matter. But it so happens that I like robots, so I build robots. If you like arts and craft, you can build arts and craft, okay? So there's no stopping you. Now, what if we were to build robots like this? Yeah, then it can help them to raise funds even much higher. Now, let's talk sense. Ordinarily, if you collect the materials and sell them as waste materials, you get peanuts. Like this robot, if I were to dismantle it and put it in a plastic bag and sell it to a recycling agent, I can hardly get 10 ringgit. Because plastic has got no weight, it has got no value. But when I'm able to turn it into works of art, I can sell it for a few $1,000s. Yeah? So can you imagine, wouldn't it be smarter for us now to look at robotics from a different perspective? Now, you can actually acquire this skill fast, easy and fast, okay? The learning process is easy and fast. Now, I don't know how many of you actually is taking up mechatronic courses. Anyone? Taking up robotic course here in the college? No? Okay. Normally, a mechatronic course will take about 3.5 years to 4 years. Okay? Because you have to learn all the various technical disciplines. You need to learn electrical, electronics, hydraulics, pneumatics, programming, things like this. And if you ask students, you want to shy away from it. Okay? But imagine you are taking 3.5 years to 4 years. But for this skill, you only need 2.5 days. You see, it makes a whole lot of difference. From 3.5 years to 2.5 days to learn the basic skills and techniques. Now, wouldn't it be something that within a short period of time, we can actually start building this, and we can actually start selling them and earn income. That is why the WWW is there. Yeah, you don't just build works of art, but you also want to sell it so that you can generate income. So now the question is, which is easier, walking up the stairs or walking down the stairs? I'm sure everybody would say walk down the stairs because you use less energy, and that's logical. Yeah. So now the question is, if the study process takes us 3.5 years to complete, why don't we now reverse the learning process and start from the end and work towards the start? For eco-artistic robotics, you only need to build a form. You don't need any technical knowledge. Therefore, you cut down the learning process to a very short period of time. Yeah? And you can see here, once you have the form, everybody will appreciate it, because those people who are taking mechatronic course, while they're only starting to learn all the various disciplines, someone else within 2.5 days has already been able to build something like this. They'll be shocked. In fact, a lot of people are also shocked when I told them I built a robot like this within 10 days. Okay? So now, if you're talking about functional robot, it will take you a longer time. Now, it doesn't matter. Even though you are not technically inclined, you build the robot and it doesn't move. Doesn't matter. What's important is, once you have got the form, it will serve as an inspiration for even technical person to come and say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to collaborate with you. Because I got the technical expertise, you got the artistic abilities. Let's work together. And this is what I hope to do, that I'm able to change people's mindset and create a savvy robotics culture. In fact, right now, we do not have a robotic culture. Neither do we have a recycling culture. Now, can you imagine now, I combine these two, I can have a twin effect. The more people build robots using recyclable materials, it will help to increase the recycling rate. The more people recycle by building works of art, it will help to increase the interest towards robotics. So it has got a twin effect. Now, as I said, the learning process is shortened to 2 days. I mean the real 2.5 days. And if you were to practice it after having the techniques, after having the skills, within a month, I can assure you, you can be productive and you can build things like what I do now. Okay? Then it's only 5 simple steps. You don't need all these technical disciplines that you need to learn. Only 5 simple steps: sourcing, conceptualization, construction, assembly, finishing. Now, I place great importance on the first step, which is sourcing. Why? Because this is talking about recycling. I want everyone who wants to learn this to be effective, hands-on recycling. Because then only you realize where to find the materials, how to source it, what to look for it. Okay? If you miss this first step, I can assure you, even if you learn the other 4 steps, you will always have this excuse. No one looked for the materials for me. I don't know where to look for it. And it's a defeat to you, even if you want to learn the techniques. What's important is you must be taught where to look for things, how to look for things, what to look for. Then you realize you're like on the street. You know where to look for things, whether it's in the house, in your mechanic shop. You see how I get all these mineral engine oil container? Each time I go to my mechanic for repair, he would have piles of all these engine oil container. He says, anytime you want, you take it. Yeah? And I can go to a neighbor's house. I got a neighbor, a kid, you know, his tricycle broke down. Some of the parts are plastics. I say, you don't throw it away, save it for me. Okay? But it doesn't matter. Don't think that it is an enigma just because you work with waste materials. Don't feel that it is embarrassing. You could be laughing to the bank when they laugh at you. Okay? So what's important is the benefits, the values that you get. Most important is, besides the techniques, besides the extraordinary aspect of it, yeah, the techniques is very important. The first value that you learn is empowerment. You will realize your own self-potential. Maybe you may not have realized that, okay? And it will help to enhance your own self-esteem, because now you've got a skill that can help you to earn money, okay? And also your self-worth. From being a student, let's say now, your status would change. You could be considered as an ambassador for environment. You could be considered as an artist or a sculptor. And of course, you get a competitive advantage, the competitive edge. I've always been telling students who have been taking up mechatronics, I say, imagine now, you're in this college, 100 of you all go for the same course, and all of you graduate at the same time. Then you're looking for a job, okay? Now, if you are going out for a job, you don't have a competitive advantage as compared to all your other fellow students. You may not even get a job. Now, what if you got this extra skill, and you already got the technical skills, and you bring along this model of yours which you have built for the interview? Okay, imagine your future employer will, first of all, single you out first and say, hey, I like that guy who has taken the trouble to build a sample like this for me. And I know that he has the skill. I would rather engage him rather than the other 20 other interviewees. Yeah? The consideration is, you have demonstrated to me, you have got the skills. And of course, your creative prowess. You will discover and you will develop your creative and innovative abilities. I can assure you. Because from nothing, you can create a work of art. That proves that you can actually develop your creative abilities. And of course, your social responsibility. Now, it makes you to be more sociable in addressing environmental issue, of which maybe you have not even bothered. In fact, we don't have this culture. Whenever, especially Malaysians, whenever we see a dustbin, it doesn't matter whether it's organic waste, paper, glass, whatever, just throw it inside. Even though now we have got separate bins to help us do that, okay? And of course, earning potential. You don't just only earn income, you also earn credibility. You will be respected, you will get recognition, you will get reputation, and you will get rewards. Finally, entrepreneurship. You get opportunities to be entrepreneurs. Now the question is, our education system always talking about getting us a cert or a diploma and join the workforce to be an employee. Why must we always think like that? Why can't we think in terms of entrepreneurship? Because the prospects is brighter in this way. Now imagine, if you're talking a fresh graduate, how much pay would you be getting? Starting pay, 2,000, 2,005, okay? Now imagine, I built this in 10 days, which means 1 month I can build 3. All I need to do is sell 1 robot, and that's it. I can even earn more than graduate pay. I sell this for at least 8,000 ringgit. Because I'm not selling you a product. I don't mass produce them. This is all one of a kind. So when I sell it as a work of art. So there's value, yeah? And there's prospects. So that's basically what I'm talking about. At the end of it, eco-artistic robotics, easy for everyone to enjoy. It's extraordinary. Thank you very much.